So Fox News is already trying to shift the discussion and blame Democrats for problems caused by Trump or during Trump. Watch this.
If the past is prologue, we could look to how Barack Obama handled his years when things went wrong. He quickly blamed Bush. Remember, watch.
I want to say a few words about the deepening economic crisis that we've inherited and the need for urgent action. Now, my administration inherited a deficit of over $1 trillion. We've inherited an economic crisis as deep and as dire as any since the Great Depression.
This happened for 6 years, and we saw it again today with Joe Biden. Said there's no plan to get rid of the put the vaccine in people's arms. They left it with there was no plan at all, already exaggerating, saying that his plan of 1 million shots a day is something he's going to aspire to. They say we're basically already doing that. So can you see this happening again? Blame Trump instead of blame Bush?
Well, I'm pretty sure that Joe Biden will probably try to do that, but let's remember, Donald Trump and no American was responsible for this pandemic or the recession it unleashed.
No. Trump is at least partly responsible for it because he could have handled it way better than he did. You know? Yeah, other countries have weathered this storm way better than we have. So to say, like, oh, no, it's not his fault. There's no way Tom Cotton would say that if it was a Democrat in power and the exact same set of facts unfolded. There's no way he would say it, okay? But here's what I love about this clip. All of their arguments against Biden are so lame. Like, none of them are substantive. It's like this new line of argument. Marco Rubio and a bunch of Republicans are using it. Biden's being divisive. He doesn't believe in unity, even though he calls for unity every 17 seconds. It's like, really, of all the criticisms, that's the one you settle on? The one you settle on is the guy who can't stop bringing up unities against unity? It's just so dumb. Now, to this point, though, how hilarious is that? They're playing a clip from January of 2009 where Obama was like, hey, we inherited a really terrible economic situation. And they're like, aha! Already making excuses, blaming Bush. January 2009, he was sworn in January of 2009. Like, literally, that could have been within the first week of his administration. In fact, it probably was. So for him to say, hey man, the economy's not doing so hot because of what the previous guys were doing, that's just factual. That's just factual. He didn't even do any economic policies yet because he just got in. So how's he supposed to take responsibility when it wasn't even the effects of his policies? But they play that clip as if it's like look at how unreasonable they are. He wanted to blame Bush for things that Bush should have been blamed for. Now, there were other clips from later on, but listen, a lot of the stuff he mentioned there, they're just facts. You don't have to like Obama to acknowledge that the things he said there were factual, because they were factual. They were. There's no doubt about it. 100% they were factual. So, yes, listen, we have to stop having these conversations in a partisan hack way. It has to be nuanced and intelligent, but more importantly, objective. Because here's what Biden can and should be blamed for: the consequences of Joe Biden's actions. Here's what Biden shouldn't be blamed for: the consequences of Donald Trump's actions. So as time moves forward, there are going to be policies that Biden implements, and then they'll have a negative effect, and then we'll say, that's Biden's fault. But if you're blaming him already for shit like the 4,000 people that died the day he was inaugurated, you're an idiot. And there are people who are already, somebody made it as a joke meme, but no doubt there are going to be people who really believe this shortly. They did like the average number of people who died from COVID during Trump's time in office. It was like 250 or something like that. And then they said Joe Biden over 4,000 deaths on average because he's been in office for 2 days, and a lot of people died those 2 days because of the previous policies. And for most of, Trump's time in office, we didn't even have COVID. So you average out, the average is misleading. But anyway, they're at that level of silliness. For them, it's like just work backwards from your conclusion of Democrat bad, Republican good. That's what they're doing. Again, you should be able to sniff this stuff out from a mile away and look for outlets and look for individuals who will tell you the truth across the board. I'll tell you when Joe Biden does something and it's his fault, but I'm not going to tell you something is Biden's fault when it's the result and the consequence of the previous administration's policy or idea. So I know that this seems like duh that I tell you this stuff, but they don't agree with the duh position because they're Fox News and they're terrible.